I'm here tonight with Wayne Cox, freelance fiddler. Who got you started in music?
Well, there's a lady named Sandra Balcom. She's a banjo player down here in Danville, Virginia, and we was talking about her giving me banjo lessons back when I was about 12 years old, and her husband had a fiddle for sale, and that's actually how it started. She gave me, bought my first fiddle for $200, and she hooked me up with some lessons with a lady named Lee Latcham, and then I set it down for, I just kind of stagnated really for about 12 years. And then I moved up to the Valley, and George Allen is the one who kind of got me back into it and got me back to learning.
Okay. Did you grow up around music?
I didn't really grow up around a lot of people picking, but what I did grow up with was my great-grandpa, who is a logger and farmer by trade, and he comes from Patrick Henry County area. He's born in 1918. So my whole life I grew up listening to Grandpa Jones and Ralph Stanley, Carter Family. And when I was a kid, about 5 years old, I wasn't watching cartoons. I was glued to all the Grand Ole Opry from the 50s VHS videos we had.
When you first started playing the fiddle, what was your first song?
The first song I guess I ever learned, it's always been my go-to song, really. First actual fiddle tune was Old Joe Clark. And we actually get a lot of requests for it with Hound Dog Hill.
Okay. What can you say about your music today?
Well, it's different, and my style, I've had people tell me that they've traveled the fiddlers conventions and the festival circuits, both old time and bluegrass, for 20 years, and they ain't heard a fiddle player quite like me. And I've been told it really fits in with a lot of people's original music that they are trying to come up with. And I kind of was gapped, and I kind of learnt wrong. I didn't have a whole lot of people to show me and sit me down and say, this is exactly how it's done. And so I've kind of developed just how I, kind of like a shot in the dark, and hoping that it sounds good. But really, it's kind of a bluegrass, Cajun mix. Anything I can get my hands on that's got the fiddle to it, I listen to, and I try to take what I can from every genre. And
if you had your choice to play with any band, who would it be?
Well, that's a tough choice, really. I guess if I was to be able to have any choice of band, I would have loved to have been able to play with Ralph Stanley when he was alive, and especially in his prime. I think because he's actually his banjo style is where I model a lot of my fiddle licks after. His banjo style.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
To be quite honest with you, I don't think I can tell you. Because I moved up to Waynesboro when I was about 21, and I made a couple bad choices, and I had to end up coming back home. I didn't ever think I would be back up there again, and I ended up moving back up when I was about 24, and that's when I met Cutch Tuttle, and he got me to play him with him and Hound Dog Hill, who I still play with, and then we've gone on to open up for Nothing Fancy at the West Virginia State Theater, I've had the pleasure of playing with Tommy Woods and opening up for Gene Watson. And I've just been able to play with a lot of people, Victor Dowdy and the Bluegrass Brothers. And if you'd have told me when I was 20 years old that, hey, when you reach 28, you're going to be done all these things, I don't think I'd have believed it. So I'm kind of hoping that the next 10 years is going to be just as much of a fun, fulfilling surprise as the last 10 have been.
Okay. Where can people see your music videos and events?
Most of the time I'm going to post them on my Facebook page, my personal and freelance fiddler, and that's probably going to be the best way unless you got my phone number. Give me a call or send me a text. Find out where I'm playing.
Okay. Well, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks, Rich.
Really enjoyed it.